So it's been a while since we've talked about Pokemon Winds and Waves, the brand new Generation 10 Pokemon games that are going to be coming out on the Nintendo Switch 2. And really the main reason for that is that there really just isn't a lot of stuff to talk about, as because these games were confirmed to be a 2027 release, the Pokemon Company and Game Freak aren't really sharing any information or details about the games aside from just that reveal trailer that we had in the Pokemon Presents back in February. So we're not getting like a constant stream of marketing and updates and getting to see like new Pokemon and new parts of the game. So there really just isn't anything else to talk about aside from, I guess, like rumors and leaks and stuff that you could go into if you want to read like every possible thing that comes up. But I'm not really kind of super into that unless it's coming from people that I know are kind of credible, or there is a decent chance for that to be true. And that is something that we're going to be talking about today, as it's not really anything to do with the game itself, but when the game is actually going to be coming out, as that has also been a pretty big topic. So Winds and Waves being confirmed for 2027 was definitely the biggest surprise in that Pokemon Presents back in February, as I think everyone, including myself, just expected the game to come out this year, as this is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So to celebrate by having the big Generation X or Generation 10 on a brand new Nintendo system, it just made perfect sense. And it's already been 4 years since Generation 9 with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, so it's been a pretty big amount of time, and the fact that they're taking another entire year too was just a complete shock. And when it comes to the release, all they've told us is that it's coming out in 2027, but no mention of exactly when it's going to be coming out, as sometimes in the past, like with the reveal for Pokemon Legends Arceus, at the end of that reveal, they specifically said that it's coming out in early 2022, but for this, we don't actually know anything. It's just coming out in 2027, and so that's why there's been a pretty big debate that's also been going on since the reveal of Pokemon Winds and Waves, is that some people think that this game is actually going to be earlier in the year, and that we're not going to have to wait a really long time for it, so maybe this might even be like a spring or a summer game next year. But a lot of other people also think that this is probably going to be a late 2027 game, around like the typical time that a Pokemon game comes out, and that's what we might have an update about today. Now, when it comes to Pokemon leaks and rumors, there are some pretty credible people that are on like Chinese forums, and these people are always talking about like what's going on with Pokemon and when we could expect stuff. And sometimes like some of these accounts on Twitter will actually get that information, because I'm not like keeping up to date with all the information that's going on Chinese forums and stuff. So some of these other accounts will do that work for us and then take that information and translate it. And it seems like the big topic right now that is going on right now, and kind of what all of the like insiders and reputable leakers and stuff are talking about, is when Pokemon Winds and Waves is slated to release, and that's what we have right here. So if we take a look right here, it says Pokemon Winds and Waves are currently planned for release in September 2027. This is the internal target month the development teams are working towards, of course subject to changes or delays. And so yeah, it seems like right now Pokemon Winds and Waves are trying to release in September of next year. And I will say that that is kind of a little unusual of a month, as if we kind of go off of what we've been seeing with Pokemon games for like almost the last decade, they've pretty much always been coming out ever since like Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They have pretty much always been like holiday releases right around that November time. And so I kind of was expecting that to be the case for Pokemon Winds and Waves as well, but if they're aiming for September, that is pretty interesting. But at the same time, it's also kind of not super surprising, because it does kind of seem like Nintendo might be trying to take out Pokemon now from being like their November release. Like even last year, Pokemon Legends ZA could have easily been a November launch, as it's a brand new Pokemon game. You already know it's going to sell over 10 million copies, and so having that like right before Thanksgiving, around like the holiday shopping time, I feel like it would have been the perfect time to have a brand new Pokemon game, as we've seen for so many years. But Nintendo actually chose to have that game release in October instead, and their holiday game for last year was in fact Kirby Air Riders, which took like that November holiday slot that usually Pokemon has. And so maybe Nintendo doesn't want Pokemon to be like that November holiday slot anymore, and instead have that be some other games, but then have Pokemon come out a little bit earlier. And that's why we're starting to see, like with Legends ZA, that came out in October, and now Pokemon Winds and Waves is apparently aiming for September. And I mean, it already looks like that Nintendo's 2027 might be kind of insane, as we've already had the credible leaker Nate the Hate, who has gotten pretty much everything correct so far in terms of when Nintendo Directs are gonna happen. He was correct about like that new Star Fox game. He was also correct about the Ocarina of Time remake. This person also did say that the big brand new next generation 3D Mario adventure that everybody has been waiting years for is slated to come out in 2027. So I think that Nintendo would probably want that to be like their big November holiday slot game next year, and especially if they have like bundles planned for it or something too, where you get like that new 3D Mario game and then also a Nintendo Switch 2 bundle and stuff like that, then yeah, I feel like that makes a lot of sense. And if that's the case, then they would probably want Pokemon to come out at some other point, so then September would make sense. And I know that there have been some people that have been saying that with the Nintendo Switch 2 generation, it just hasn't really felt like there's been a lot of big releases and heavy hitters coming out, as we had Mario Kart World when the system came out, we had Donkey Kong Bonanza really soon after, but then after that there hasn't really been a ton of crazy games. Like Kirby Air Riders was cool, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment was cool, Mario Tennis, like that's cool and all, but there hasn't really been anything insane. And so we have like Star Fox and Splatoon Raiders and stuff like that, but really right now the only other big game that we have is this Ocarina of Time remake. But I think that Nintendo next year in 2027 is really going to be like starting to give us a lot of these like crazier games, as if we just take a look at what we know so far, we have an entire new generation of Pokemon with Pokemon Winds and Waves. An entire new saga of Xenoblade is about to start, as they revealed that in the last Nintendo Direct with Xenoblade Genesis. And then that very credible insider Nate the Hate, who has pretty much been correct about everything, is also saying that there's going to be a brand new 3D Mario, which is also now very likely going to happen. So that's already an insane lineup that we know, and that's not even the games that we know that Nintendo is going to show us next year when they actually start having a Direct. So I think that 2027 is going to be extremely packed, and so that's why maybe they want to have Pokemon Winds and Waves come out a little bit earlier. And so yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to click that like button and also subscribe to the channel as well. I'm definitely gonna have some more Pokemon videos, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Comment down below and let me know what you think about this. How do you guys feel about Pokemon Winds and Waves releasing in September of 2027? Do you think that makes a lot of sense? Would you be okay with it? How do you feel about everything? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. But if you don't have anything to say about it, just comment your favorite emoji down below for some engagement. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.